The Mighty Nein have just done their first dungeon crawl, and boy, it wasn't a doozy. This episode was crazy, so let's get into it. Stay tuned, and we'll dive right in. It's episode 6 of the Mighty Nein animated series, and boy, things are getting better. All the episodes seem to be just getting better and better, in my opinion, and it starts off with a bang. Yeah, so I think we should just jump right into it. So we have our little synopsis I'm going to give real quick, and I actually took notes more than previous episodes, which I should be doing more, I think, Hawk. But anyways, so our synopsis is our group of misfits, I'm going to call them. They arrive to the Dash, where they meet the gentleman who instructs them to get a compass from this sunken ship from a long time ago that the government is trying to get into, in exchange for a pendant that Caleb is looking for to protect them and the group from being found by other external sources who run into a lot of problems getting to the ship, and then also trying to get out because they are in a life and death threatening situation. So let's see how they do. The episode starts off with actually Yasha. So we are back with Yasha, and it starts off with her looking for the beacon. So she is on an assault against this army, and she's just destroying everyone. I think the general also at some point charges at her with a horse, and she just cleaves that horse in two, and then just kills the general. That's kind of that's kind of the like gist of the whole battle. She's just like manhandling everyone. Then after she like killed most of the army, there's a woman that she runs into who pleads for her life, and then in exchange she will give her information that she needs. But when she gets the information, she grabs the woman by the head with her bare arms and then just crushes it. Wow. I don't know if the animators had if they enjoyed this animation part of crushing a person's head. I don't, or they found it disgusting. For me, it was like, what kind of meeting did they have when they were discussing this scene? Because it was really grotesque. Like the way she crushed her head, it was really disgusting, but cool at the same time. So I was like, was this something they looked forward to animating, or was this one of those like um really interesting parts that like, how animators have those projects where they're like, just go ham, or do what you want to make it look better? Or was it like, hey, crush the skull and then make it look grotesque? Or was it just uh it was just, I just want to know the mindset that they were deciding for this, because that was disgusting, but awesome at the same time. This episode gives me so many roller coasters. It's crazy. My emotions were all over the place. I don't know if my if the previous episodes have given me this much emotional roller coaster as this episode, because my god, I was like happy one second, the next second I was upset, and then it was just back and forth, and the episode was like all over the place in a good way, but it was just like, oh my god, like, can I stay in one emotion for longer than like 4 minutes? But yeah, so that happened, and then we cut to Zadash, where then the opening theme starts, which is pretty cool. I still like the opening theme. And then we cut to our misfits arriving at the Dash, and when they get there, Molly's about to find something that, she's a klepto, so she tries to steal something from a vendor without him seeing. But Molly, and I like this actually, I've never heard this phrase, I guess is the one to say it, or quote, never steal from happy people. And I've never thought about it that way. I think that is a great line. I think that might be my favorite line from the entire episode, and I agree with it. Yeah, just don't steal from happy people. Then Jester finds a copy of, I don't know what I'm doing here, but it's a bad drum roll. But she finds a copy of Tusk Love, which is another like Easter egg, prominent Easter egg, and nod to the book from the game. And yeah, so she takes that. I think she bought it. I don't know if she stole it. We didn't see her buy the book, but we assume she bought it. But also, Does she have any money? So back the question, did she steal it or did she buy it? We're not sure. But we do see it again later. So yeah, she did have it. During this time, Bo runs off and she finds her mentor and gives her the bead, who proceeds to show her what it is. And it's like a code. It's like a code that she seems to understand right away, to which solidifies or proves the what's it called, Trent's betrayal and theft of the beacon. So yeah, that's what that code means. Yeah, we find it out later in the episode, but I'm just going to state it here because that's what it is. And then Bo and her mentor have a little back and forth because she says she's traveling with a Volstrutter, which her mentor says that is a bad idea and that they are always loyal to Trent and will kill anyone for it. So it kind of causes a not a wedge, kind of like a mistrust between the group, which brings this episode like a sub theme, if you want to call it, which is the group has to start trusting each other, actually like get together and be like, okay, I trust you and I'm gonna stick with you for now. And that was pretty much along with the things that are going to partake is what they have to deal with. So they have a lot to deal with in this episode, both physically, emotionally, and otherwise. Yeah. So Bo goes back to the group, and then we cut to Caleb, who walks over to the group as we see Estrid standing there. So at first we're like, whoa, hold on a second. Estrid just stands there. Seems like Caleb sees her, but then he walks right kind of through her. And then at first I was like, before we find out, because you find out in a second where the like what the spell is being used here, because you know she's like, we're not sure if she's there, but as soon as he passed through her, then you know that she's not really there. She's in like a ghost type thing or whatever. My first initial thought was like, is she astral projecting or is she invisible? And then turns out it was neither. She was just scrying. So she scryed on him, and that's why he wants to get that medal, because or the token, the token metal necklace thing that was broken last episode. So he's trying to get another one. So, which by the way did not happen in campaign 2. He had that whole time, and the theft or breaking of the necklace did not happen until like 75% through the campaign, where they had to go back into the school or and try to steal it again. I think they were trying to steal, like it was like a heist, trying to take it from them. Oh yeah, it was a heist. They were trying to go and steal from Ikathon's like reserve, and almost got caught, which led to a huge like chase, which is phenomenally done. But I don't know if they're gonna do that, and how they're gonna come about that, because he already had his necklace destroyed by the Volstrucker last episode, and now he's going to get it from the gentleman. So I don't know if they're gonna do it again or what, but yeah, that's what happened. So yeah, they get so Estrid comes out of her trance of the scry spell, and then she has the note of Bren from the Volstrucker that sent the note to her in her hand, which is also the component used to scry on Caleb. If you don't know yet, Bren is Caleb. Caleb is Bren. Caleb is just using another name to not be found by the people he's trying to hide from. So Bren is his real name. Caleb is his fake name, his hiding name, if you want to call it. But yeah. So then we go to Trent and Essek, who is still using the beacon. He's still trying to practice the beacon, get like trying to use it. Every time he's using it and investing more power into it, his hands and fingers are like burning off. Cool effect. I thought that was cool. And I forgot that he could heal. So I'm like, oh, he's slowly killing himself. And then he just heals after he's done. He kind of has to be snapped out of it because by Essek, because crazy guy go crazy. So yeah, but yeah, so Trent pushes the beacon, testing his limits, and he snapped out of it, and then all of a sudden he gets summoning from the king. So the king has asked to see or talk to Trent, and then he on his way out tells Eadwulf to watch Essek and not let him touch the beacon, which is like, okay, as clown, like, what, who gives you the right to tell, you know, to tell someone else what to do with their own people's, relic or prized possession, essentially. I thought that was, I mean, it shows what a douchebag he really is. He really feels entitled to something that doesn't belong to him. And I'm kind of like, it raises a question that I've had for a while. Why, or not why, but how did Essek and Trent even meet? Who initiated this collaboration between the two of them? How did that come about? I don't know if they're just allowed to have people come between the kingdoms and just cooperate, or like a diplomatic type of thing, or because I don't think so. I don't think they have any kind of diplomacy between each other. They're just kind of mutually like, hey, you stay out of our way, we'll stay out of your way. That's the gist I'm getting. Even from the campaign too, I was like, that was the gist. They had like the little beef here and there. They had the front lines that the group could have gone to if they chose the good path, or, well, obviously they chose the bad path and went somewhere else. But yeah, so, and then we see more of that front lines with the fight in like the battle in this episode. So, and then when he's summoned, then we go back. Let me see. We cut back to the group arriving to the, what's it called? Let me see my notes here. Evening Nip Inn. So yeah, we see the Evening Nip. That is the location of the gentleman. It's like a not a safe house. It's like a front house, if that makes sense. It's like a guise, and then there's a latch to the real location that they have to go through when they give the secret pass. And then we cut back to Trent, who is on his way to meet the king, but then he is met and he's met in set up in a trap by Tasha. He is trapped. He falls into a trap by Tasha and Vesduroga. So yeah, he's arrested. I was surprised. I was surprised by that, and I was quite happy with it. And I was like, oh, thank God. Are they gonna just deal with him now? Because overall, Trent, yes, he was annoying. He was just here and there throughout the campaign. Plus the one, what's it called, chase episode that they had, that where Trent was chasing the group and they're trying to escape him. They literally had to like travel to another plane to escape him. Besides that, I was like, he didn't really do much. He had a couple interactions with them where they were able to like just walk by unscathed, and like with the dinner that they had with him. Otherwise, he didn't really have anything. He wasn't really there. So I'm like, is this how they're going to just kind of get rid of him? Done. He did his part essentially, and that's it. Spoiler alert, I was disappointed, but I was still happy until then, because we're going to cut that later. Because right now we cut back to the nip, and where they go through the portal, or not portal, the passage under the Nip's flooring, if you want to call it, and they go to meet the gentleman, where Molly runs into an old friend, Cree, which is the, what's it called, a panther. What they called? Lycanthropy, like lycanthropist. Is that what it is? So they ran into Cree, who, boy, there's a bunch of stuff that happens here, because in the campaign we don't really. There's like maybe a hint here and there, but it's not really gone into too much detail. But here, there's a lot more given in this episode, especially if you've watched the campaign. Then you see the nods to the game, and you understand what she's trying to refer to. So she talks to him. She asks him if the ritual worked, which Molly's like, yeah, because he's talking to her. He doesn't know who that is because his memory's wiped, right? So this is Molly, not Lucian. And so Molly doesn't know who this person is, what she's talking about. And so he's just kind of going with it and agreeing with what she's saying. And he's trying to play vaguely nonchalant about it, like let's keep this on down low. He's kind of doing with thing with the new crew to for his own little thing. And she's like, okay, okay. And then yeah, she was asking about like a couple of things that she brought up was the mage that set up the ritual for him. She also took the book. So those are the nods to there's the book that in the campaign you when they go up to the north, they run into this mage. I forget her name, but she had the book, the Lucian's After, which is like the Nomicon or what is the Eyes of Nine or something book. I forget what the book was, but it was like something very important to him that he needs to for his plan that they're gonna try to do, which we'll cover later because that's way ahead of our time right now. But so she has the book, and it's the one that he kills in the campaign when he is back to his quote unquote old self and traveling with the tomb takers is what they're called. Yes, tomb takers. So yeah, there's the like quite a lot of lore dropped in there. The ritual, the tomb takers are mentioned. So that's his old group that he was traveling with before this group. Before actually going to the circus, the book that was taken by the mage that helped him do the ritual, and then that will most likely run into later. Then we go and meet the gentleman, and then my first opinion of him is that what did I have right here? He looks like a slick, sickly green, constantly sweating middle-aged man. That's what I wrote down that he looks like. So sickly green, constantly sweating. He is like he's like a waterman or something. Like he is a water genasi. I want to say he's a water genasi. I think that's what he is. And so, yes, of course, he's always like sweaty and not later makes a comment about it. Like, he asks if he needs them to get something and not makes a off comment joke. I forget what it was because I did not have it written down, but it was, I mean, if you watched it, you probably remember better than me. But anyways, I digress. Um, then we have a little thing with Ford throughout this episode. It starts in the tavern there, and Ford hears a voice, a mysterious voice. We all know that it's Ukatoa, but if you haven't watched the campaign and probably haven't, if you haven't already kind of come to the conclusion of the mysterious voice he's hearing, it is of Ukatoa, his patron at the moment. And he is trying to, I guess Ukatoa knows where the items are. The well, I assume you've seen the episode and based off camping too, you know the three eyes, the three glowing eyeballs, sphere things. Um, I think here for this dungeon crawl that they did, I don't think no, he didn't find it here. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think he finds it in this dungeon. I think he finds it in another one that they do later, where's that famous Bo and Caleb argument is. That I'm sure you guys can remember what to do with one of the items with the dragon lady chick that they meet later. But for those who have watched the campaign, you know what I'm talking about. For those who have only watched the anime so far, you're confused as hell. I'm a little bit confused too because it's a vague memory, but it's very important. It was a huge debate about who was right between Bo and Caleb. Honestly, they were both right to a certain extent, in their respects. But I think it was in that dungeon instance that they were doing is where he found the ball, the eye glowing eyeball thing. But instead, I assume that they're not going to be doing that. So I assume that's why they did it here, unless they in the campaign he did find it in this dungeon, which then I got my thing mixed up. But either way, he found it here, and but he's been hearing the voices of Ukatoa, who is making him feel uneasy. So he's like hearing it, but nobody else is, and he's not sure about this dungeon crawl initially. And Jester has to kind of convince him to join. And then I think the first time he's heard the Ukatoa is just a growling, and then it progresses into like a more talk, speaking, one word, communication, conversations. Then we cut back to Essek, who solves the equation on the chalkboard that he has started since the last time we saw him, and then is promptly kicked out of the room because Estrid just is upset because she found out that, well, not only that Caleb is in town, but also that Trent is arrested by the king and the Cobalt Soul. So, but Estrid on the way to like wherever they're going, I think they're trying to like go and try to help Trent escape or something. Wherever they're deciding to do, they're leaving the room, and Eowulf asks Estrid if there's anything else that she needs to tell him, and she says no. So I am confused. Well, I'm not, like, I'm just wondering why she didn't tell him that she saw Brent, that he's in town. Maybe to not distract him from what things are transpiring. Is that the right word? And then trying to like not distract him from what they have to do now. So that was a quick little scene. Then we cut back to the group. The gentleman takes a sample of the group's blood because they're going to leave the area and go somewhere else. And, you know, if you're tasked to go get something for someone, who's to stop you from leaving and just never seeing the guy again, right? So that was his mentality as well. And to ensure that, he took a sample of each person's blood, and boy, so this blood sample is it's weird because Creed is is she a bloodbender or something? It's like a Avatar reference, but she's like bending people's blood out of their cut and into vials. But it's not just that. It's the fact, if you watch Campaign 2, spoiler, I'm going to do a lot of spoilers throughout this series if you haven't noticed already, but she steals the blood vials later when the group comes back eventually to the nip, and once Lucian is Lucian again. And that's as far as I'll go into it. So it's like yes, she can track people with their blood, and so she steals the blood later. It was like, I was like, okay. But yeah, they do that. And like I said before, this episode gives a lot of whiplash, gives me like whiplash and a lot of different emotions here and there that are like, that's a roller coaster, because these are just quick scenes that keep cutting between different scenes, different characters and stuff. And that was a quick little, the blood sample one was not even that long. We cut back to Trent, who is getting punched in the face brutally by some brute. And that put a smile on my face because, my God, you guys know how much I hate this guy. This guy is a douche. And I was like, I hope they kill him. But, one can only hope in the anime. I don't condone killing. But I was like, yeah, it was one of those moments where I was like, okay, all right. It was like the happiest moment in that episode for me was just watching him get like brutally beat up. And I was like, typical mage, very easy to, hurt. But yeah, so he's getting beat up, and Tasha and Vesteroga are discussing finding the beacon because they're unable to find it in any of the locations that they've searched. So they've searched, like, how do they not know about that room? Because that's a classroom essentially. Is that not a private study classroom thing? Why did they not go to his private study? I don't know. Like how difficult is this thing? Also, if they're part of the government, so why not look into his subordinates? Like, hey, like, you guys are loyal to this guy. He's a bad guy. You guys are most likely to. Or detain them as well. Detain Estrid and Eldwell. Get them to speak, because they'll probably speak a lot easier than what's his name, Trent. Because yeah, Trent this whole time's getting beat to shit, but he's not speaking, and he's only saying he'll speak to the king. Bad idea for them to let the king speak to him, because I'll get back to it later. Because right after that, we cut back to the group. Like I said, this episode is like whiplash, emotional roller coaster, back and forth. Like, oh my God, it's all over the place. It's in a good way, but I'm like, I don't know how to deal with this, because I'm like happy, sad, or happy to certain levels from 10 to 6, and like it's an emotional whiplash as well. Yeah, so we cut back to the group sneaking into the entrance of the dungeon. Well, so they can't go through the front because there's a whole bunch of, you know, king's men, army men trying to like, or excavators trying to also get in there. And so they coincidentally just go out through the back, which there's like barely little to no resistance, no people. It's like even they even noted that it's too easy to get in, which frankly, yes, it's booby trapped. There's so many traps, but I can't justify that's the reason why they are not going in through the back entrance as well. It doesn't make sense to me. They're going through the front, which should be also trapped, but so why aren't they going through the back? There's like one small like group of like handful of people that pass by that they hide from. Their stealth check was probably rolled a 20, and then they just walk by and don't notice the group at all. But then they just have to deal with traps for the rest of the time, right? To which, let me see, Caleb suggests to not scout ahead and find booby traps and disable them. Bo makes a comment, and this is where their thing kind of starts back and forth, their distrust for each other. And so goes ahead, starts finding booby traps, sets some off, and then she goes to disarm the trap, but then and while she's doing it, there's a little quote I have to say. Jester makes a remark. I thought this was funny. I think this was one of the funniest moments in the episode for me, and maybe you won't find it funny, but I think it's quite funny for my sense of humor at least. Jester shouts to Not, you're so brave, Not, we believe in you. And then in a quiet voice to the rest of the group, she says, she's gonna die, I can't look. And I thought that was funny. It wasn't in a campaign thing, so that was just a nice addition to the series. uh I liked it. That was a good line. I personally thought that was funny. Not trying to disable these traps. She fails one, gets her foot like so. Something I'm on and off trying to do throughout these episodes is trying to see where the character would have rolled a natural 20, natural one, or just a general high or low roll. And here, Odd looks like to me at least rolled a natural one, steps on a trap, leg goes through the floor a little bit, gets her foot caught. The trap from the roof opens up and is about to swing down with this giant hammer like thing. And then she's not able to get her foot unstuck. So Bo saves her last minute. And then they proceed through a bunch of traps to get to the mechanism that disables them all. To which then, when they disable the traps, says, this is another funny moment. Not tells Bo, I saved your ass. And then she says, how I just saved your life. And then gets a dart to the ass. And then it cuts to Jester healing Knott's butt with this strange bubble butt. Like the butt was emphasized. If you've seen it, you know what I mean. It was quite funny sequence of events that happened. It was so funny. That was my second favorite line, besides the Jester one. And overall, it was just funny moments. The comedic aspect of this episode, the general series, is quite funny. It's not forced. It's the timing is I think mostly in the right spots. So it's not too funny or not enough, or kind of like that. They have their moments of serious and then funny moments, and then funny moments during serious moments that meshes well. So I like that. And then Ford, they make it to past all the traps to the first room where it has these three bonfire like things, pits. I can't say pits because it's like these three bonfire like things where Ford, to me, looks like he rolled a natural 20 on this, because Ford solves the puzzle, or the star puzzle of the constellation for this room, which then opens up like these platforms that go up to the next level. So then they go up that, and then for some reason, not decides to before this happens, not decides to make a remark. I forget what it was, but it was almost a confrontation because Ford grabs Not and is like, "What's your problem? Why are you always basically like, insulting or on his ass?" To which Caleb threatens to shoot fire at him. So it's almost like another, like, what do you want to call it, altercation between in the group. Yes, everybody's still like distrusting of each other, but I mean they're still strangers. So, but again, this episode they have to kind of like work together and try to trust each other. So then we cut back to Essek, which he goes back home. He talks to his mom, finds out his friend is gone to the front lines, and then we cut back to the group. I'm like, God damn it, the whiplash on these scenes is crazy. So they're surviving more traps, and they make it to which narrowly make by this trap door that almost crushes Not's head, and then they make it to this room full of golems. I think they're stone golems, rock golems, stone golems. I think they're called stone golems. At least that's what it looks like to me. If these are not stone golems, let me know because I could be wrong. But these look like stone golems to me, and they're inactive, so they're not sure why they're there. But now they have to do another, what's it called, puzzle. And it looks like Caleb rolls pretty high here as well because he uses some kind of true sight or some kind of vision spell to see invisible platforms that he directs Bo to jump across to make it to the ship to lower the kind of bridge thing from the bridge from the ship to where Caleb was sitting on the other side of the wall. And so there's a little altercation there, which Caleb very distrusting is like kind of like halfway through the pillar or the invisible platforms, interrogates her where she's been, and then threatens to not, you know, to withhold where the next pillar is if he doesn't tell him where she was before. It was just a little back and forth. This was like a pretty serious moment between them, and basically she told him what she did, and then leap of faith, between them two, is kind of like what was forced here, kind of to build this trust in the group. So it's kind of it felt a little rushed, but it was okay. I didn't have a problem with it. It was just weird that Caleb cared too much where Bo left for some reason and just doing that in general. So like, okay, but you know, minor thing, I think. So it was okay. Yeah. Let me know what you think about that particular scene. Leave any comments about that and let me know what you think. Do you agree or disagree with me on that? And then we have Ford hearing more from Ukatoa, who sees this glowing light in the water, and all of a sudden, Ford is gone in the water. So he's like drawn to this light, and he's not sure. He's not sure why. I mean, we're not sure why because I didn't know that. I had a suspicion that it like is this where he finds the glowing orb, or is this somewhere else? Because I was like, because like I mentioned before, I wasn't sure if it was this dungeon crawl or if it was the net like a later one that they did. So I wasn't sure if it was this one, but I was like, okay, where's he going? I wasn't really sure what the glowing thing was. So it ended up being that. But yeah, so Ukatoa is leading him towards that. How did that orb get there is what I'm wondering. Because it would have physically had to have been taken and put there. So did that pirate guy that they were raiding the ship for the compass have that orb as well? Because that raises just a few questions for me. Because how did it get there? I think in campaign 2 it was explained how it got to the dungeon it was found in before, but I'm more sure now that it wasn't in this dungeon that it did that he found it. Again, I could be wrong, but I think that's just my because this has been like 5 years ago or something that I've watched campaign 2, so I'm surprised I remember this much, to be honest. But yeah, I'm really curious to find out how it got there and why that place. Then we cut back to Trent. Boy, so many scene like it, so much whiplash on cutting between scenes. Queen Dwindle shows up because they give Trent what he wanted to talk to the king. Honestly, in campaign 2, King Dwindle wasn't really, I think he was like only mentioned or interacted with a couple times by the group, and he didn't seem that bad. I think he wasn't bad. He was just political, I guess. However you want to describe him. I don't remember him as being bad. Maybe I'm wrong and you guys do remember him being bad or whatever your opinion of him is, but generally I was like, he's not that bad. He's okay, whatever. And then I thought he was fine too. And then Trent convinces him to let him go only because, like, he lets him go only because he promises to win the war. But I'm like, just give the beacon back and the war's over. Why do you have to kill so many soldiers or people over it? It doesn't make sense. So I'm like, you're willing to kill hundreds or thousands of people for something that could have been avoided just to give it back. You could have just given it back and said, hey, look, this guy stole it. He's in our dungeon. And instead of us, executing him as a apology or as a offering of peace, we offer him to you to do with him as you please. That would have been the better option, in my opinion. But they did not do that because the king is also a piece of shit. Because his greed and lust for power, I guess, overpowered his rational thinking. Because why not just give the fucking thing back? Just give it back. Why do you need to, like, I can win this war that we didn't even start, that you started actually, and put me in this for no reason, like I'm involved in this because of you? No, 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 I'll believe you instead of just giving the thing back and then having you executed. I'm so upset about this one. This is so this is, yeah, like, again, I got from happy to excited to a thrill to upset. The emotional roller coaster for this episode gave me so much whiplash. It's crazy, along with the scenes that cut every 2 minutes. But I was really mad about that. I hated this part of the thing, of the scene, because it just showed King Dwindle is also just, you know what? I'm on the Queen side. Before I was like, Queen's okay. I don't have a problem with her, but I probably wouldn't want to, you know, be there. The campaign 2 was like, sure, they had a house there and they still chose not to live there. But now I'm like, I'm on the Queen side because fuck this king. This king's like a piece of shit. No wonder he entrusted another piece of shit to run or be his advisor. This is stupid. All right, enough complaining about that. That was just so annoying. Oh my god. Okay. Anyways, all right. I'll drop it. I don't know if you're upset about this as much as I am, because that's just, well, you know how I feel about it. We cut back to the group. I think that interaction with Trent and Wendell was also like 2 minutes, and then cut back. So we cut back to the group. Ford is stuck in this hole. Well, this is already past the hole because, yeah, he got stuck trying to swim through this hole, almost drowned. Ukatoa gave him water breathing so he could breathe and reach into the other room chamber or whatever with the orb. And then he communicates with him again saying consume, and Ford takes the orb and swims back. Now we cut back to the rest of the group where the alarm that Caleb set off in the tunnel, that he set up. It's that, what's it called? In the campaign, he always set a alarm. That's what the spell is called, alarm. So he set that every night to alert him if somebody breaks into the room. He did that every night, every time the group was doing a long rest. So he set that up, and then that was triggered because a whole bunch of soldiers, I don't know how they found out that they were there. It doesn't make any sense. How did they possibly know they were there? That doesn't make, how the hell did they not even get there before them? Because they were trying to get to this for probably days, maybe months, maybe even years. before the group, and they still haven't been able to get into this thing, but all of a sudden they can get there after the group does. It doesn't make sense to me at all. I'm baffled by the incompetence of, I guess, the way things are run or done in this kingdom or this area. I'm not sure what to even make of it. But yeah, so somehow they make it past all the the traps have been disabled. So I guess it makes sense why they got there so quickly and easily. But nobody was going through the back for the traps, because I don't think the traps that were disabled was disabling the entire dungeon's traps, unless it did. I'm not sure. It's not specified at all. So I assume it was just in the area that it, like the back entrance area, that they disabled the traps. So I'm still confused how the rest, like these soldiers came to, came to the last room and trying to place them under arrest or trying to capture. What? I don't understand why they were after them. None of that makes any sense. This is not, like, this doesn't belong to anyone. This is like a free for all. It's like a archaeologist digging site or something. Like, it's like something like that. It's like, you do not have, I don't know if they have authority there. Like, is it like expedition is placed there, or is the dungeon under anyone's ownership, is what I want to know. Probably the king's, but how does that work? Can anybody just go in there, or is it has to be just by his guard, that, his military or army type of, or official people that he designates. So I'm confused how that happened and how they got there very quickly and how they were not able to get there sooner before the group even, like they said before they even did this. What if they already got in there? I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. They should have gotten in there before, and then they just didn't. So it's baffling that they didn't make it there until then. They charge in just as Caleb takes the, what's it called, the compass, which sets off the next trap, which is activating the stone golems, who operate on sound and attack anyone who is talking or running, making noise. That's what they're essentially enchanted to do. So they don't really know that yet, but the army's attacking. Actually, they figure out pretty quickly that they are functioning on audio. So he's trying to get the people that are coming after them to be quiet, who don't listen, and then get immediately like killed in the process. And there's just a big massacre with the golems just killing all the soldiers. And so eventually they convince them to be quiet, which sets the golems, or deactivates the golems, I guess. And then the trap is done. It's it's weird. The trap is quite simple, quite easy. Simple and easy is same thing. I get what I said. That was a dumb moment, but it's easy and clever. And you just have to be quiet for a few seconds for them to deactivate, and then you're good. When they do that, when they have everyone like detained, Ford comes back from his own little treasure diving expedition, and I'm confused why Ford, for a second, thought was about to leave the group, because he was about to leave Jester too. They've been traveling together the longest out of the two of them. They've known each other the longest out of the group, and so I'm wondering why he was about to leave. And he's, I guess, on her little journal or sketchbook he stepped on, he saw and it changed his mind. But I'm like, you were just about to leave the group, and then do what? I wasn't sure what this thing was. I thought he would just come back and try to help them escape, but even though he changed his mind and came. So he kind of like did this. I think he had this illusion, and where he started talking loudly that activated the golem's back and started insulting not and whatever to kind of push them, encourage them to like fight back and get out of there. To which activated the golems. The golems killed all the soldiers. They ran away, and that was that. Then we cut to the war, we cut to the front lines where Essek's friend was um in the well leading the army at the front lines to fight against the empire. And there is where and like yeah, Essek shows up there. He sees that Trent and the king showed up there too, and Trent just uses the beacon to he's activating the beacon. Essek teleports into his friend, like to his friend, and teleports him out to save him at a distance. And as they watch Trent use the power of the Luxon to lift up all the soldiers and have them plummet to their deaths. Cool visuals, a lot of gore there. I'm not sure. Like I said, I hate Trent. I hate the king now. Unfortunately, the king probably won't die, but I hope Trent does. It sucks because I hated everything about this scene. This scene was just awful. Just a lot of bad things that happened. I don't mean like it was awful as a anime or animated series. I just mean like everything that happened was just awful. And so his friend realizes that Essek was the one who stole the beacon and helped them with this, and then that's kind of where we cut back to the group. God damn, so much. The whiplash is real, man. And we cut back to the group who are in the on their wagon coming back to the town to the gentlemen to who are splitting up now their loot that they got from the ship. Like they're splitting up their treasure, the gold that they got. And that's kind of where it ends. Kind of ends with a mystery person stepping into frame with their just we get a glimpse of their legs. That's about it, and then that's where the episode ends. So yeah, that's the episode, and that's the whiplash that I am not sure how I feel about. It was a great episode. There's so much done. There was so much that happened, and there was a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of back and forth in this episode, not just scenes cutting between each other, but also just emotional roller coaster that I got from this. I was like, I hope they don't continue it like that. It was a great episode. I liked that they did it, but my emotions, I don't know how much I can handle that, like that. But yeah, that's the episode. Yeah, we're running a little longer than normal, about an hour. That's pretty cool. What you guys want me to cover once the series ends? I want to cover campaign 4. I am quite behind on trying to cover that. If I do start that now, I will, because we're only a couple episodes away from this animated series ending, and then I will probably start on campaign 4. But let me know what you think. Leave a review, comment. Not sure how to end these things, but join in next time for episode 7 for the animated series, and I will see you then. Is it Tuesday yet?